Episode 1. Hey, Alex here, and you're listening to Chrome and Gasoline. Today, we're talking about the 1957 Pontiac Bonneville Convertible, which is basically what happens when Detroit looks at a normal car and says, nice. Now add optimism, and chrome, and a little bit of I probably shouldn't, but I will. Picture late 1950s America. Highways getting longer, sunglasses getting cooler, and every design studio acting like the space program was handing out styling notes. Everything wanted to be longer, lower, wider, like the car was trying to lie down while still moving forward. And Pontiac? Pontiac was busy trying to prove it could be more than sensible transportation. The Bonneville shows up like a well-dressed troublemaker at a country club buffet. Why does the 57 Bonneville Convertible matter? Because it's a luxury car that keeps side-eyeing the performance aisle. It's polite, but it's also the kind of polite that knows where the back door is. It's the nice suit, loud laugh of the Pontiac lineup in that era, and it helped push the brand toward that whole wide-track confidence that would become a real identity later on. Now, let's begin our first scientific measurement of the evening, chrome math. If you've never done chrome math, it's where you calculate something totally unreasonable, then treat it like a peer-reviewed study. So, rough estimate. Take the amount of chrome on a 57 Bonneville, bumpers, trim, the shiny bits that exist purely to reflect the sun into your retinas, multiply by one convertible windshield frame, divide by the number of people who turn their heads at a stoplight, and you get approximately, yes. And that's the Bonneville vibe. It's not subtle. It's not trying to be subtle. It's a rolling announcement. I have arrived, and I brought extra sparkle. Under all that jewelry, though, there's real muscle. By 1957 standards, anyway. Pontiac V8s in that period were getting more serious, and the Bonneville name was associated with higher performance setups for the day. Think strong, torquey American 5.8 character, the kind of engine that doesn't so much rev as it expresses itself. We'll dig into that next episode, including the era's whole carburation culture, and the fact that late 50s automakers were also flirting with early fuel injection in a way that could be brilliant, or occasionally dramatic. Because here's the contradiction that makes this car fun. It's a big, fancy convertible. Comfort, presence, boulevard manners. Yet it's also wearing a grin that says, but what if we pass everybody on the way to the fancy restaurant? So in episode 2, we'll talk engine personality. What fast for 1957 really means without doing modern number gymnastics, and how different induction setups of the era could change the way the car feels. Smooth, moody, eager, or occasionally like it woke up on the wrong side of the choke. For now, just lock in the mental image. Top down, chrome everywhere, and a car that's basically a handshake, a wink, and a bold claim, all at once. I'm Alex. This is Chrome and Gasoline, and the 57 Bonneville Convertible is about to teach us that luxury and mischief can share the same bench seat. Episode 2, Alex back with you on Chrome and Gasoline, and it's time to talk about what gives the 1957 Pontiac Bonneville Convertible its heartbeat. Because underneath the chrome confidence and the I'm definitely parked at an angle on purpose stance, this thing lives and dies by its V8 personality. Pontiac in 1957 is in that sweet spot where the brand is clearly aiming higher. More power, more polish, more, we're not just here to be your responsible choice. The Bonneville name, especially, was associated with the spicier end of the menu for that era. Not modern sports car fast, but 1957 fast, which translates to, it can pull with authority, cruise with ease, and make passing traffic feel like it agreed to be part of your demonstration. Here's what that kind of V8 feels like in real life. You don't chase redline, you summon momentum. You roll into the throttle, and the car leans into it like a heavyweight boxer getting warmed up. Slow smile, then a firm shove. Torque is the star of the show. It's not a screaming, high-strung thing. It's more like the engine is saying, relax, I've got it, while the whole car gently lifts its eyebrows. Now, induction. Carburation versus the fuel injection buzzword of the late 50s. Most cars of the period lived in carburetor land, simple, familiar, and very much dependent on good tuning, temperature, and the mood of the choke. In that era, some manufacturers also offered or experimented with early mechanical fuel injection on certain performance-leaning models and trims. When it worked, it could feel sharper and more consistent, like the engine was a little more awake. When it didn't, let's just say the car might ask you to be emotionally available before it fully commits. And this is where we deploy our recurring public service, the Sales Bro Translator. Because if you read a 1950s brochure, you'd think every car was powered by patriotism and rocket science. Sales Bro Translator Line 1, Jet Smooth Acceleration. Translation, it won't shake your dental work loose, and it pulls nicely once it's rolling. Line 2, Instant Response at your command. Translation, if everything's adjusted, it reacts quicker than your neighbor's lawnmower on the first warm day. Line 3, Effortless Power for the open road. Translation, highway cruising is the whole point, and the engine is happiest doing that all day. So what does fast for 1957 mean without doing modern benchmarks? It means the Bonneville can feel genuinely confident in real traffic, especially in that rolling, mid-speed world where torque matters more than hero numbers. It's the kind of car that makes you feel like you planned your route just so you'd have a long on-ramp. And the best part is the way it matches the car's personality. Luxury outside, strength underneath. It's wearing cologne and carrying a gym bag. Next episode, we'll talk about how that power gets delivered, automatic versus manual vibes, and what the Bonneville feels like on the road when you're asking a big late 50s convertible to do modern things like turn and stop. I'm Alex. This is Chrome and Gasoline, and the 57 Bonneville Convertible is proof that even in 1957, Pontiac knew the recipe. Dress it up, tune it up, and let the boulevard be your runway. Episode 3. All right, Alex here on Chrome and Gasoline, and now we get to the part where the 1957 Pontiac Bonneville Convertible stops being a poster and starts being a moving object with opinions. Because power is fun, but how it delivers that power and how the whole car behaves, this is where the late 50s personality really shows up. Let's talk transmissions, the way polite society talked about scandals in 1957, quietly, but with intense interest. Big American convertibles of the era were often ordered with a smooth automatic, because the whole vibe was effortless cruising. You glide, you steer with a couple fingers, you pretend you're not checking your hair in the chrome. Automatics then were generally tuned for smoothness and comfort, not snappy modern shifts, which means the experience can feel relaxed, sometimes a little marshmallow in the best possible way. Manuals existed too, depending on how a car was equipped and what the buyer wanted, usually fewer gears than you'd expect today, and more involvement than the car's "I'm luxurious" facial expression suggests. A manual in a big convertible can feel like wearing dress shoes to a hiking trail. You can do it. You might even enjoy it. But you'll also wonder why you chose the option that makes you work harder while the car is dressed like it hired a chauffeur. Driving feel in modern terms? The automatic experience is smooth and relaxed, sometimes a little slushy, like the car is translating your foot movements into a polite suggestion. You press the pedal, there's a half beat of, "Yes, sir." Then it gathers itself and goes. That's not a flaw. It's the era's definition of refinement. It's luxury momentum, steering generally lighter and less direct than modern cars. You don't aim so much as you guide. It's like steering a confident couch, one that's wearing a belt. Brakes, typically drum-based in that period, which means your stopping plan should include forethought, mild prayer, and a respectful following distance. Not scary, just different. You learn to drive it with your brain, not just your toes. And because it's a convertible, the chassis feel is its own character. Big convertibles carry weight, and they can flex more than a hardtop. Over bumps, you might feel a little shimmy, like the car is briefly reminding you it's basically a living room with no roof. The upside is ride comfort. These cars were built to float over imperfect pavement like it's apologizing for being there. Time for our recurring truth serum. Convertible problems. Convertible problems are the funny little realities nobody mentions when they're posing for photos. Problem 1. Wind. Wind has plans for your hair, your hat, and any paperwork you thought you'd keep in the cabin. Problem 2. The top mechanism. When it's behaving, it's charming. When it's not, it turns into a slow-motion trust exercise. Problem 3. Weather. A convertible is basically a relationship with the sky, and the sky is emotionally inconsistent. You'll leave the house under perfect sun, and suddenly a cloud shows up like, "Oh, we're doing this today." Now, put it all together in a '57 Bonneville Convertible. You're not hustling it like a track car. You're letting it do what it was born to do: cruise, glide, make you feel slightly important, and occasionally surprise you with how eager it can be when you ask for more throttle. It's luxury with a mischievous streak. Next episode, we're going full fashion show. Colors, trim, interiors, two-tone drama, and the kind of chrome that could signal aircraft in an emergency. I'm Alex. This is Chrome and Gasoline. And if you can drive a late 50s convertible smoothly, congratulations. You have the patience of a sane Ison and the forethought of a chess grandmaster. Episode 4. Alex here, still on Chrome and Gasoline. And today, the 1957 Pontiac Bonneville Convertible gets to do what it was built to do best: look outrageous in the most lovable way possible. This is the episode where we talk colors, trim, interiors, and that late 50s belief that if a little chrome is good, then a lot of chrome is basically a moral virtue. The design cues are pure 1950s optimism: long, low, wide, and confident. The car has that rocket theme running through it, styling that feels like it wants to be photographed next to a jet, even if it's just going to the drive-in. The stance says, "I'm parked," but the lines say, "I'm posing." Now, paint culture in that era was theater. Two-tone combinations were a whole language. Your car didn't just have a color, it had a personality. You might see period-style names like Kenya Ivory, Bonneville Red, Fontaine Blue, or some kind of silver or charcoal tone that exists mainly to make the chrome pop even harder. Not claiming any one shade was the color, just saying, Pontiac people in that time were not shy. Interior vibe? Think bright work, textures, and details that feel like mid-century living room design got promoted to the dashboard. Upholstery might be vinyl or cloth blends depending on how it was equipped, with patterns that say cocktail lounge more than minimalist Scandinavian. Buttons and knobs feel substantial. The dashboard doesn't whisper, it announces. And because we're here for science, it's time to revive chrome math. Let's calculate the chrome to drama ratio. Step 1. Measure the bumper sparkle. Step 2. Add the side trim that seems to run for 3 zip codes. Step 3. Multiply by the number of onlookers who suddenly remember they have feelings. Result? A ratio scientifically classified as potentially blinding, definitely awesome. Now for the fun part: personality archetypes based on color and trim choices. If you pick a bright ivory with a bold red accent, you're the country club rebel. Polite smile, spicy playlist. If you go deep blue with lots of chrome contrast, you're the night cruise poet, the kind of person who thinks streetlights are mood lighting. If you choose a silver gray vibe, you're the stealth glamour type, still flashy, just with better negotiation skills. And if you pick something boldly warm, yellowish or coralish, congratulations, you're the main character, and the car is your supporting actor that refuses to stay in the background. All of this styling ties back to what makes the '57 Bonneville Convertible special. It's not just transportation, it's a statement. It's Pontiac trying to outdress the room while still keeping a punch in its pocket. Next episode, we wrap it up: the ownership fantasy versus reality, and I'll tell you a very human story about a memorable encounter with a '57-era convertible. Sensory details, minor embarrassment, and a lesson delivered by wind. I'm Alex, and this is Chrome and Gasoline. Episode 5. All right, Alex here on Chrome and Gasoline, and it's time to land the plane, or, more accurately, to park the chrome spaceship. The 1957 Pontiac Bonneville Convertible is the kind of car that makes your imagination do overtime. You picture top-down sunsets, effortless cruising, strangers smiling at stoplights, and your hair somehow staying perfect in the wind, which is adorable because wind has never signed that agreement. The ownership fantasy is real. This car has presence. It doesn't just arrive, it makes an entrance. It turns a simple drive into an event. You don't go get milk, you go on a milk tour. And it has that late 50s luxury performance contradiction we've been living with all series. It's comfortable and classy, but it also carries that Pontiac Vive 8 attitude. Strong, torquey, I can move when I feel like it. Now, the reality, lovingly, it's still a big 50s convertible. Things are mechanical, they have moods. The car likes maintenance the way a house likes a toolbox, regularly and forever. Brakes and steering demand respect. The top is either your best friend or an elaborate prank, and modern traffic can feel like everyone else is playing a different sport. But if you meet it on its terms, cruise, glide, plan your stops, enjoy the ritual, it pays you back with charm you can't download. Convertible problems. Check in, because we can't leave without it. The wind is still your stylist, and it is not a professional. Also, sudden weather is like a pop quiz, and the top mechanism? It's basically a small committee. Sometimes it votes yes, sometimes it requests a recess. Okay, personal story time. Years ago, I was at a little weekend cruise. Nothing fancy, just a parking lot full of people pretending they just happened to be in the area while polishing things with the seriousness of brain surgery. A 57-era Pontiac convertible rolled in. Could have been a Bonneville or a close cousin. I'm not going to swear on a carburetor manual, but it had that unmistakable late 50s stance and enough chrome to reflect my whole questionable life choices. The owner was an older guy, with that calm confidence you only get from years of dealing with machines that can't be bullied. He's chatting with people, and I'm doing what I always do, hovering respectfully while my brain shouts, "Ask him to start it! Ask him to start it!" I finally say something intelligent, which is, "Oh man, look at all that chrome. Real genius-level contribution, Alex." He laughs, and he offers to let me sit in it for a second. Just sit, not drive. Sit. So I climb in, and immediately I learn lesson 1. Summer sun plus vinyl seat equals you're doing the world's hottest slip and slide. I try to lower myself gracefully, and my shoes decide, nope. I kind of half sit, half scoot, and for one perfect moment, I'm doing an awkward little dance move that looks like I'm trying to start a lawnmower with my hips. Everybody sees it. Of course they do. The chrome probably recorded it. Then the owner, absolute gentleman, reaches over and shows me a control for the top. And right as he's explaining it, a gust of wind comes through the cabin like it paid admission. My hair, which had been behaving, becomes a whole separate project car. I'm blinking, laughing, trying to look cool, and he says, dead calm, "That's convertibles for you." And I swear the car itself felt like it was smiling. I stepped out smelling faintly of warm vinyl and old car perfume, gasoline, sun-baked materials, and a hint of history. And my takeaway wasn't, "I need to own one tomorrow." It was, respect the era, respect the machine, and never assume the wind is on your side. That's the magic of a 57 Bonneville convertible. It's not perfect. It's charismatic. It's the kind of car that gives you stories, sometimes even before you turn the key. I'm Alex. This is Chrome and Gasoline, and I'll see you next time when we chase another legend with a little humor and a lot of respect.